Hi, friends. I'm Safi, and this is the Electronics Interview. Joining me today is Mr. Varun Pahwa, President, Desiccant Rotors International Private Limited. DRI is a global provider of components and systems for energy recovery, indoor air quality, evaporative cooling, dehumidification, and green buildings. Airports, malls, green buildings, DRI products reach over 25 countries. Mr. Pahwa, welcome to the electronics interview.
Thank you. It's very nice to meet you and connect with all your viewers.
The first question I have is tell us something about DRI and the space you operate in. What is this sector?
So, DRI is a company incorporated in India, headquartered in India. We are part of a larger group called the Pahwa Group, and one of our sister companies is a company called DRI, which has its origins in the US going back to 1964. But proudly, we are now an Indian company headquartered here in Gurgaon in Haryana. So DRI provides solutions and products essentially for sustainable or now what buildings which are now popularly known as green buildings. So that product portfolio caters to reducing the energy consumption of buildings that we are building, especially commercial buildings, and also with a key focus on providing ventilation and clean, fresh air to the occupants.
What are desiccant and desiccant based technologies your products are based on? If you can tell us something about these technologies.
So, desiccant based air technologies are fairly niche globally. However, they are being adapted all over the world because people see the benefits, especially when it comes to humidity management. And South Asia, Asian countries do face high humidity levels compared to Europe and North America. So a lot of the design work when we do an HVAC system for a building has to cater to the humidity loads. And that's where desiccants can play a very important role, which desiccants, as you know, is something which can easily adsorb water and give out water as well. So with desiccants at the core of the technology of any HVAC system, we can control humidity better, provide better comfort to the occupants of the building, and also go a long way in reducing the energy footprint, both in terms of running costs and also the first capital expenditure of any equipment.
You are a global provider of components, products, and systems for energy recovery, and there are verticals like indoor air quality, fresh air treatment, evaporative cooling, humidification. So there are lots and lots of sectors. I mean, say verticals in the sector. It's a big portfolio. If you can touch upon what all is happening in these verticals, where is the demand and how it is being met, and where we stand as a nation in the global scenario.
Sure. So when we refer to air conditioning, typically we only think of cooling. However, it goes a lot beyond that as well. So we are dealing with that. It depends on which part of the country and which season you're in. We could be dealing with air cooling, air heating, air cleaning, which is filtration and clean air, both in terms of particulate matter, which is now a very big issue, especially in cities like Delhi, where we talk in terms of particulate matter PM 2.5 and PM 10, and gaseous contaminants like SOx, NOx, which are given by vehicles or power plants in the neighborhood. Also, we can talk in terms of humidifying the air or dehumidifying the air. Humidifying is the air is where we're adding moisture to air, and dehumidification is where we're reducing moisture from the air. India is a very large country, and we see all types of climates, especially if you take the 12 months. So the challenge is that how do we optimize and design a system which is good for the occupants all year round, and also energy efficient, because that is the key focus across the board. Both an end user and a government and agencies focus is to reduce the energy footprint. So all our products are today catering to these two fundamental aspects, providing clean air, as much as possible fresh air, and at the same time reducing the energy footprint of the building. So there is a huge scope in the country, and proudly we are global leaders in this field. We do export globally, right from South Korea to Brazil to Canada. You'll see products made here very much in Haryana and all over the world. So it's backed by a lot of research and development, and both on the mechanical side and chemistry side. So we're proudly producing in India, researching in India, and developing products for the world from India.
In terms of Atmanirbhar, being self-reliant, the government has already taken certain initiatives. Do you think anything additional needs to be done for the sector?
So Atmanirbhar, in my opinion, means different to different companies, especially given the product portfolios and the sectors they play in or the markets they play in. So I'll specifically talk what Atmanirbhar means for us. We are today an export-oriented company. We like to explore global markets and provide them quality products. India, of course, is a very large market for us and will continue to grow and will be our main market. For in our terms, our focus on Atmanirbhar is to see that our supply chain from a vendor base is something that we look at sourcing from within India. So that's what we can do at our end as a company which is already exporting to indigenize our own supply chain. So I think the government is doing their bit, but I think at the end of the day, it's up to the corporates, it's up to the companies to evaluate and see and handhold their vendor base and take initiatives abroad for exporting. So there's a lot more we ourselves can do rather than waiting for the government to introduce policy. So it's all in our hands, in my opinion, in a large way.
Newer technologies are affecting, like, a lot of sectors. So are there, any technologies or any effect you are seeing in your sector?
So the air conditioning sector traditionally has been what we would refer to as old economy sector, brick and mortar sector. We haven't seen game-changing innovation that one sees in terms of AI or electronic hardware, mobile phones, software. But in our space, again, the innovation is happening, and the innovation is towards more energy efficient products, providing lower energy consumption and ease of use and adaptability. So there is definitely innovation happening, but it would not be right to bucket in the same innovation that you see in the Silicon Valley or Bangalore or the software or the hardware side of electronics.
One last question is, in terms of numbers, if you may share, where we stand and what's the next decade likely to be in terms of what is being done in the sector you are operating.
So our sector gets split between residential solutions, commercial solutions, and industrial solutions. So the next decade story for India and all these fronts for air conditioning products is very, very optimistic. We are in a growth economy. And all these sectors, as residential buildings come up, commercial buildings come up, new factories get put up, will require good environmental control, energy efficient environmental control. And I think we can only look forward. So as a company, as a corporate, as a group, we are very, very optimistic about our own domestic market. And I think that will always be our first priority.
Mr. Pahwa, thank you so much for talking to the electronics.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.